What is the best follow-up system for real estate agents in 2022? It's a question that I get asked often. It's something I want to unpack in this video around the perfect follow-up structure, what that looks like. And that's really the goal. That's the big idea for this video today. I'm going to try to do more of these videos. And really the reason I'm trying to do this is provide massive value back to the real estate community. Really, my goal is to help you build, grow, and scale your real estate business. And something that we chat a lot about is follow-up. I think that it's something, especially now in a shifting market, that if you have really good follow-up skills and really good follow-up systems, you can really make a massive impact in your local market. So we're going to unpack the perfect, what I call the perfect follow-up structure in 2022. What is the perfect follow-up structure in 2022? Where do we start when we think about follow-up? The first thing that when I chat with real estate agents across North America around follow-up, the first thing that I really try to get them to understand is the fact that we need to have speed to lead. This is probably one of the most well-known things in the real estate industry right now, that the quickest that we can get to leads, the stats don't lie, and that they really drive real tangible results. What do the stats tell us? Number one, when it comes to speed, is that if we follow up within 5 minutes, we can actually increase our conversion by 100 times. Those are the stats. I think it was HubSpot who put out the article, but they essentially tested a call center, and the call center that followed up within 5 minutes had 100 times more conversion than the actual call center that didn't. So when a lead comes in, if we can make it apparent to get to them as soon as possible, those are the types of people that are going to win with follow-up, is making sure that you have speed in your follow-up. The other thing that you want to consider when it comes to speed is we need to make sure that we communicate the way that the actual end consumer wants to communicate. It could be text, it could be email, it could be call. There are so many ways to get to people fast. And what we recommend is when that initial message goes out, call, text, voicemail, email, call, text, email, voicemail drop are for the things that we do in order to get to the lead fast. And essentially what we try to say is like, hey, with a voicemail drop, we might say something like, hey, we missed you, but let us know what is the best way to actually communicate with you. Is it email? Is it call? Is it text? If we can create what my mentor, Sharon, calls sorting questions, if we can create a sorting question right out of the gate, we can have really great results when it comes to speed, because we are showing that we are responsive. It was NAR who recently put out a stat. I did a video on this a little while ago about how the 7 interesting facts by National Association of Realtor. If you go to my Instagram page, you can find it. But one of the most important things that people sought out when they were actually working with a realtor was actually responsiveness. So they ranked responsiveness ahead of actual knowledge. So responsiveness, answering your phone, speed to lead is one of the most important things when it comes to actually creating great follow-up and having a great follow-up structure in your real estate business. So, and I chatted about this yesterday around making sure that if you can't answer your phone, that you have a call forwarding that happens, that, automatically when you're not available, make sure that when somebody rings your phone is actually forwarded to another member of your team or to another agent, to make sure that people to make sure that essentially you're being responsive and you're not leaving money on the table because you're not answering your phone. So the first thing in the perfect follow-up structure that I consider to be something that is so important is speed. The second thing that we have to consider when we're talking about follow-up is frequency. What do I mean by frequency? I'm going to walk you through a few different things that we do and a few different things that I really think that you should be doing in your real estate business through working with hundreds of real estate agents, seeing tons of different team structures. Frequency is something that really does separate the professionals from the amateurs. So let's unpack this a little bit. There's an interesting stat that I think was by HubSpot as well, that essentially says if you follow up with leads 7 times or more, you can actually increase your contact rate by 70%. Now, the issue is majority of agents follow up I think it's 1.4 times. Me and Vikram were having a conversation. The average agent follows up about 1.4 times. So you can essentially do more business simply by committing you and your team to actually follow up more often, whether it be email, whether it be text message, whether it be crafting different messages and we'll get into that later on in this training, but speed is one element. Frequency is the next. What else can we do when it comes to frequency? How else can we drive a great follow-up plan or a great follow-up structure? Again, it's through email, it's through text, and it's through calling. Email, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated ways in order to keep in contact with a lead, because once you have them in your database, you have a way to communicate your message. So when it comes to email, there are certain things, and there's some training that we've done around this, around deal of the week. It could be, market update. Or it could just be a social post. I think that people in this industry in real estate forget that they're producing content, and they might be producing really highly valuable content, but they're not taking that social content and getting it in front of their email list. It's another way of distribution that allows you to have an ongoing conversation with people that are in your database, because they're getting so many emails, and it's another way for you to stay top of mind. That's the whole name of the game with real estate. It's about branding. It's about staying top of mind. Like, I can tell you that when Sharon said to me, he's like, hey, you need to email your list, at least 3 times a week. That was a light bulb shifted in my head to realize that, it's no different than posting 1 time a day on Facebook or on Instagram or on like LinkedIn. Like, we get the social, we need to post more on social, but for some reason we don't get that we need to be in the inbox more. So that's the other element behind frequency, is like, the perfect follow-up structure is making sure you're taking the content you're producing on social and you're getting it in front of your email database. So you probably have 1,000, 2,000, maybe a 500 email, a list of 500 emails. How often are they hearing from you? How often are you providing value? For the most part, it was really interesting. I was having a conversation with in a mastermind I'm a part of, and somebody asked that question: how often you email your list? And all these 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs, they all said at least 3 to 4 times a week. Some email their database at least once a day. So it's something to consider when you're thinking about follow-up. What does the perfect follow-up structure look like? It takes speed and it takes frequency. But I'm going to get into the tactics here. The third element behind the perfect follow-up structure is using tools. So what do I mean by that? What are some tools that you can use in order to create great follow-up? So the first tool is obviously, a CRM. And essentially what that is, is allowing you to track where are people at in your database? Where are they? Like, one of the best things you can do with follow-up is like get out of using spreadsheets. Like, I talk to so many real estate agents that, have big aspirations and big dreams for building a team, and they're still on spreadsheets. It's like, there's very little scalability. And I wrote about this today on a post where it's like, it's very hard to attract talent or wanting, like, especially if you have this desire to build a larger team, if you're not organized in the CRM and your team that comes in doesn't have the ability to actually mine from the work that you're already doing. Like, building a database and building a pipeline is so important towards growing and scaling any business, any real estate business specifically. So having a CRM to be able to track where are people at in your pipeline, and knowing, how far are they out? Are they 3 months out? Are they 6 months out? Are they 12 months out? And then coming up with a plan of attack in your CRM. And a lot of people ask the question, like, it's like, what is the best CRM? The best CRM is the one that you use daily, like consistently every single day, checking the CRM, looking at where people are at, how can I provide them more value? But that is a tool that you need to use in order to have the perfect follow-up. The next step is like reminders. So most CRMs can do this, but at the very least, set something up in your calendar to remind you the day that you need to follow up with a specific lead. So most CRMs will do this, but using your CRM or using your calendar as a tool to ensure that no one falls through the cracks. One of the biggest mistakes, and that's what we talk about frequency, one of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to follow-up is they just forget. And this is where project management softwares come into place. This is where you're able to actually drive massive value back into the end consumer by simply remaining consistent, providing value, getting in front of them, making sure that they have the right searches set up, making sure they have the right information around mortgages, around pricing, around market. The more value you can provide through reminders, the better follow-up that you will have. The next element that I want to get into around tools is automation. So your CRM can track, but your CRM also should have the ability, if you have a decent CRM, like if you're using Follow Up Boss, if you're using our system, if you're using LionDesk, whatever you're using, setting up automated campaigns can allow you to continue the conversation. Like you can literally batch process your 3 emails a week. So what I would encourage you to do is like write your 3 emails on a Sunday and schedule them out to go out Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like I said, like we do that for our clients. We do deal of the week, we do market update, and then we're working on a 3rd email sprinkler that allows our clients to get in front of people on a consistent basis, because we know that over time, through consistency in the inbox, through value in the inbox, what we can do is we can create a great relationship with an online lead. But everything, like I chatted about yesterday, takes time, volume, and skill. And you can essentially create a relationship through the inbox if your information is valuable. And deal of the week is super valuable, because what do buyers want? Buyers want a home. What do sellers want? Sellers want a buyer. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone when you get people on a deal of the week system on a weekly basis. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone when you talk about market update and you talk about what's happening in the marketplace. You end up becoming a knowledge broker, but you need the tools and you need the frequency and you need the speed in order to have a really great follow-up. The last thing I want to cover around the perfect follow-up structure is intention. What does intention mean? Intention means using the IDX more than just e-alerts. E-alerts are great, but are you actually working your IDX? Are you actually calling the people that are set up in your searches? Most IDX systems like Showcase will actually tell you when somebody has actually favorited a property. Are you spending at least an hour a day in your IDX? Are you spending an hour a day in Matrix or Stratus? Are you spending an hour a day in Showcase looking at the properties that people are viewing? Are you practicing how to approach those people? Are you approaching them with Loom? Are you approaching them with a phone call? Are you approaching them with a text message to essentially just ask them simple questions like, hey, do you want to go see this specific property? I saw that you favorited this property, like, putting together some sort of pitch that allows you to get an in-person showing, making an intention on a daily basis to like we chatted about tools, using market update, using deal of the week, using these different systems that we teach, and that my mentor Sharon teaches as well, and that we implement for a lot of our clients. Do you have the intention behind making sure that follow-up is a priority? The next thing I want to talk about is time blocking. In your calendar. My partner Vikram talks a lot about how this is, he has a 4-hour-a-day playbook that we have inside the Real Estate Growth Academy around time blocking and like what are the outputs that you need to be doing on a daily basis. And he kind of put that together into a playbook. And everyone inside of our Real Estate Growth Academy, like he talks a lot about the 4-hour, the $1 million playbook, how he built his $1 million real estate business, how he built his $250 million real estate business. And we chat a lot about that, talk a lot about consistency and like, what are the things that you need to consistently do on a daily basis in order to drive the outputs that you're looking, like what are the inputs you need to drive? Like, and a lot of it just comes down to time blocking. A lot of it comes down to doing the things that you say you're going to do and setting intention and actually making it a reality. And this is really what it comes down to follow-up. I say to my sales team all the time, I'm like, where is follow-up? Where is prospecting? Where is calling people who miss calls? Where is that in your calendar? One of the most effective things that I learned along the way from Brendan Burchard was that if it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. And this is something even my system strategist, Jacqueline and Camila, talk with our agents when we're actually building out the system for them. We're saying, even trying to get them to the point where they're creating video content so we can advertise for them. Like, where is it in your calendar? If it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. Your calendar, if it's in your calendar creates the confidence that you need in order to actually get the result you're looking for. So that's why we say, like, follow-up requires intention. Like, where is it in your calendar? And this is kind of a tool, but I threw it under intention, is just around Loom. Loom, or, we'll call BombBomb, or, Voice Note. Like, what do your follow-up sequences or your follow-ups look like? We were chatting the other day inside our Real Estate Growth Academy, messenger, and we were chatting about like how we follow up. And some client Mario mentioned that he follows up with voice notes, or he'll follow up with Loom videos, or he'll follow up with just a video. Like, how intentional are you with your follow-ups? Are you doing the bare minimum, or are you going above and beyond for every client that comes into your ecosystem? Because I can tell you that it's possible. You just have to time block in your calendar. That's where intention comes in. Great follow-up, having the perfect follow-up structure requires speed, requires frequency, requires tools, and it requires intention. And you have to make the choice of like, how great of an experience are you going to give every single client that comes into your ecosystem? This is something that, through working with hundreds of agents over the last couple of years, coming up, talking to thousands of agents all across North America, realizing that the vast majority of follow-up can be broken down into 4 key pillars: speed, frequency, tools, and intention. So that's a big idea. That's what I want to leave you with today. I hope you got a ton of value today. I hope that you go take these concepts, these ideas, and you create a system, you create a process around creating a follow-up structure that is so intentional, that is using tools, that is frequent, that drives a ton of speed, so that you can grow and build an effective real estate business that creates predictable, profitable sales, because the fortune is absolutely in the follow-up. It's a core belief we hold. It's something we know. We know that if we just have consistent and intentional follow-up, we can create really great results inside of our businesses. So I want to leave you with that today. If you want more information around what we do, you're like, hey, this is all great, speed, frequency, tools, and intention, but I don't have time to do it. That's what we do. We do deal of the week. We do market update. We're working on, we have lifetime nurture built out in all our sequences. If you want more information around what we do around follow-up, literally just throw the word follow-up in the comment section below. I'll get you details. But I really do appreciate your time, your attention. I hope you take this. I hope you go run with it. And we'll see y'all soon.